What's good, guys? This is World Thrift Live. You know what it is. It is currently 10:58 p.m. NYC time. We are in Florida right now. We're with my boy Miteau, owner, founder of Simply Steez Co. Shortly, we're about to start the interview. He's going to tell you his story. This is a really great segment, guys. You definitely want to tune into this. If you're out right now partying, you might want to step in the bathroom. I don't know, but definitely tune into this. If not, it is going to be available for the next 24 hours. And then, of course, as always, we upload these to YouTube for people to be able to watch whenever, at whatever time you want, to be able to get the content and the knowledge that you want. So again, tonight, Saturday night, we've decided we've got the Saturday Night Fever here Saturday Night Fever tea here to theme the evening. So hopefully you're out partying, having fun. If you're unable to watch this, but I hope that tomorrow morning you wake up and this is the first thing you watch, and educate yourself on what's going on in the vintage world. But anyway, I'm Alessandro, this is Nick Fanning, this is Miteau, and this is World Thrift Live. Thanks for tuning in.
All right. Man, that was a crazy intro.
Nick Fanning?
Yeah. So for those that don't know what we do, again, this is just a podcast to bring the vintage community closer together. And this particular case, we don't have a vintage dealer or a thrifter. We actually have somebody that has his own clothing brand, and that's Simply Steez Co. To kind of kick us off, right? Miteau, go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself.
So, hello everyone, my name is Miteau Francois, and I'm the owner and creator, designer, everything of Simply Steez. So you could follow the Instagram, Simply Steez Co. So I created this brand maybe a few years ago, but I really took it serious starting January, like right after my 21st birthday. I currently am a student at USFSP. I'm in my senior year, so it's time to kick the gear in and start grinding and start pushing things. But yeah, basically I started it because I was interested in fashion and all those things, and on top of that, I'm a business major, so why not start my own thing? I used to go into stores and buy other people's clothes, and I'm like, why am I putting money in their pocket when I can start my own thing, right? Just like Alessandro and Nick, they're doing their things, they're kind of like great mentors, big brothers to me. So I decided to start my own thing so I could sell my clothes, have people wearing my clothes, me wearing my own clothes, instead of putting money into other people's pockets. So that's that was the inspiration behind Simply Steez, and yeah.
Yeah, and as you can see, we're already wearing a couple of Miteau's drops.
Yeah, these are a couple, me and Nick are each wearing a couple archived pieces from last summer's collection?
Last winter? That was summer. Yeah, last summer, yeah.
Yeah, so last summer's collection, and then he's got an exclusive preview of, I don't know, he might not even want to tell you. I'll just
I might as well. These are the hoodies releasing in December.
Yes.
Sans gave me a great idea of the time I should release it, like before Christmas. So these will be dropping before Christmas. I just have a few more things to do to them, but they'll be dropping on the website, simplysteez.com, on the Instagram, everything. Yeah.
We got to do a big campaign for this, guys. What I was telling Miteau is all December long for Christmas, the whole Christmas season, I want everyone stunting these red hoodies. I want everyone to go out and get yourself one, stunt. Make sure you tag us in the photos. That way we can post you on the page. And I'm just going to go ahead and say it right now. Folks, this is going to be huge. Everyone that gets a hoodie from December 1st to December 31st this year, you're getting 50% off at World Thrift. You heard it. Mr. Fusillo, me and Nick Fanning, 50% off. It's going to be huge. So go ahead, get yourself a hoodie ASAP.
Yes.
When they drop. Go ahead and post a photo, tag us, and like I said, you're getting 50% off anything you want at World Thrift. If it's a $300 band tee, you just got it for $150. This is huge, folks. Huge.
Yeah, and you guys can't see it now, but I have a design on the back, which I'm going to change because everything I drop, I usually want to add a concept, and the reason I started doing that was because of Samuel. Remember when I met Samuel? So everything I've been dropping has a concept to them. These t-shirts that I dropped was like Steez Yang, which was like when opposites attract. So it was about somebody from one spectrum and the other person from the other spectrum, and then coming together to make a whole. That was the whole concept behind collection two collections ago, and the last one was a fly away collection, which was basically, you know, getting out of all the bullshit, sorry for cursing, you know, and like stepping out of your own self and flying away, you know, just to find your true self. And these, I have a real good concept on what's gonna happen with the hoodies, but I can't say it yet because it's a little bit blurry, but it should be good. You guys should tune in. It's gonna be crazy.
Cool. So tell us a little bit about, you know, how you came up with the name Simply Steez. You know, where does that come from?
So I had, in high school, I had a clothing brand with my homies, right? So I played basketball in high school, and after basketball season was over, I didn't want to go to like a D3 college to play basketball because, you know, I wasn't like a D1 caliber player. I could probably do D2, D3. So I said, this is not what I want to do. I don't want to be practicing like 5 hours every day, Monday through Sunday, no rest, straight grind, especially if I want to be great, because I don't want to be subpar at anything I do. So I had a clothing line called Malufa with one of my homies, and then I went off to college. And when I went off to college, I still had the passion for clothes. So I decided to start again, but I didn't want to go back. I wanted to start fresh, right? Because I wanted my own thing. So I was just literally sketching names down, sketching designs down. And at first it was Steez because I heard this song a long time ago. And people always think I'm referencing Capital C's. I don't know if you guys know Capital C's.
No.
He's on Pro Era. But I actually did not know about Capital C's around that time. I mean, we're in Florida, and that's like in New York. I'm sorry, like, guess I'm uncultured. But I didn't really know about Capital C's. I knew about Joey Badass, but I didn't really know about that Pro Era that much. So I didn't really gain inspiration from them. But it's just, that's kind of a coincidence. But I used to stay Steez in high school. Like in my high school pictures, I would be like #Steez. So in college, I wasn't doing that, but I just needed a name quick because I wanted to get things going. And I just was thinking, all right, let me get a name, and then later on, I'm gonna change it, which ended up not happening. But I just wrote Steez down. I'm like, all right, I'll just stay with Steez, and but Steez just sounded too lonely, right? It was just Steez, like just Steez, and I'm like, I need something else, you know. I need like 2 acronyms type of thing. So I went with Simply Steez, and at first I forgot what the thing was at first, but it was really bad. It was really bad, but I just went with Simply Steez, and I said, all right, I'm gonna go with that for now, and then I could change it in the future. But people really caught an interest in the name, right? So I was like, I might as well keep it, and now I'm way too deep into it,
right.
And you know, I can't just change the whole thing. So yeah, it was literally because I used to say Steez in high school, and then the Simply Steez came in, like, you know, I just needed something to add to the Steez.
Something simple to add to it.
Yeah, and then I was like, Simply Steez, why not? You know, it flows, right? So I just kept it going. Mm-hmm.
Awesome. So, I mean, already you've done numerous drops. You know, I remember the staple was the track pants, and then it was the shirts, and then now you're getting into accessories with the backpacks. You know, where do you see yourself going within the next few months? Where do you see yourself going after these hoodies drop? You know, what's next for you?
So I want to continue to dabble in the creative field, as in with photography, videos, and things like that. Since I do everything myself, I want it to be a brand, as in, you know, like Augie with like how ASAP has Augie, and it's like a creative thing. So it's not just like the clothes. It's more to that. So, you know, I
like
focus
a lifestyle?
on like a lifestyle. And somebody actually said that recently.
It's a lifestyle brand.
Yeah, they was like, bro, I really like your brand because it's like a lifestyle. If you go down on my page, you'll see videos of a soccer video, somebody playing soccer in the pants. You'll see somebody doing a football workout in the pants, basketball workout in the pants. You'll see people just relaxing in the pants. It's a lifestyle, so you could wear them to really any occasion. And even I wore a suit. It was like super business casual, but I wore a suit with the shorts. I don't know if you guys saw that picture, but I wore a suit.
Yeah.
I wore a suit.
I stole that look.
You did?
Yeah, I loved it. Dude, I'm pretty sure you probably saw it. I screenshotted it. I posted it on my personal page.
Yeah.
Because I've been making a lot of fashion posts. And I literally said this word for word. I said, this is the best look of 2018,
Oh,
hands down.
definitely.
No one can do anything about it. No one in the celebrity world, no one in any realm. It was, to me, the hardest look I've seen in a very long
I
time.
appreciate
so
you.
it was
Yeah,
super dope.
that was the goal, you know, just
Business casual. loved
business casual. And one of my captions was like, "Can I get hired with this look?" or
Right.
something like that. That was like my caption. Even though I probably wouldn't be able to get hired.
You would,
yeah, at World Thrift
You
for
take
sure.
Nick Fanning's job.
You know,
Right.
they're taking interns. If you guys wanna work for World Thrift, they're taking interns. But
Send your resume.
send your resumes to Nick Fanning and Sans the man. So yeah, I forgot what I was even talking about.
So we're talking a little bit about your brand. Where you're going
Oh, where
from
I'm
here?
going.
Where
So-
are you going from here?
I want to really focus on, so after the hoodies, I want to focus on, because the concept for the hoodies, which is so blurry
I'll
in my
let you in
head,
1 minute. Hold on.
which is so blurry in my head, but the concept for the hoodies are just so crazy, and then from then, I'm going to show you guys what I have after, but it's going to be a lot of visuals, a lot of pictures, but like mainly videos in terms of conceptual videos, not just like random videos. I want conceptual videos. I was thinking of doing something with dancing. I'm not personally a dancer, but
We
I
know
was-
someone we can connect you with.
yeah,
so-
so I was thinking of doing something like with dancing, just like a whole bunch of different lifestyle situations where I can record someone in their, you know, at their best, whether they're a dancer or a soccer player, a basketball player, whatever they are, you know, whatever gender, sexuality, whatever they are, and like record them at their best. Of course, wearing the clothes, but just to show that it's a lifestyle, and that's where I'm going from there. Just like to focus more on the content side of things. Of course, I'm gonna be designing still, but after the hoodies, I'm gonna like focus, drop a lot of content, a
Okay.
lot of videos, a lot of pictures, a lot of, you know,
More of the blog?
The blog actually slowed. I canceled out the blog because if you guys didn't know, well, you guys don't know me, but I did have a blog on my website. But I stopped the blog because it was so much to focus on.
Right.
Because I had to focus on the writers, right?
Right.
And then I had to focus on the pictures, the videos, website design.
Is the blog section still up? Like, because I know you guys did the article with us, which was dope.
Yeah, we did do an article, but the blog session isn't up. I upgraded the website. Shout out to my homie Opson. He helped me upgrade the website, so it's different. So the blog, I still have all the blogs
Okay, cool.
in the database, and people, I guess if you put certain keywords on Google, you can still find it.
Right. If you have the
But-
link, it'll probably still go.
It'll probably still go,
Okay.
but you know, I had to cancel that out because it was just so much,
Too
you know.
much.
And you guys are partners in the business, but I have no partners, so it was just so much to just focus on everything.
Right.
So I had to like cancel out the blog, upgrade the website, so I could focus more on like making videos and everything else, and not worried about, you know, blogs.
Just making it smaller, making it easier to
Make
manage
it,
by
trying
yourself.
to. And I'm also a student, guys. Like I'm
Right.
I'm in my senior year now, but senior year is the year where you can slip up. I don't want to slip up my senior year and then have to stay another year in college and put more money into tuition, whatever it is. So I want to get this year done. I want to try and make this as smooth as possible, even though there's a little bit of headaches, heartaches, whatever it is. But I want to make this year as smooth as possible, so after I'm done, I can really focus on what I want to do.
Okay, cool.
Clue tried to hop in, so Christian, send another request. We'll get you in, and we'll take a little viewer question from Game of Clue over in Los Angeles. I think that'll be kind of
Los
interesting.
Angeles? Okay,
Yeah.
dope.
So Christian, just send, if you're still in, send that request, and actually, I might be able to send you a request. Hold on, let me see if I can do that.
But to kind of keep things moving, me too. You know, we talk a lot about success. Success, you know, to me is, you know, you put out your brand, somebody likes your brand. A little bit about, you know, some of the mistakes that you made. You know, like maybe when you're designing that particular piece, maybe you ordered too much when you didn't need to. So, what's that big mistake that you really learned from, and it's pushing you forward to that next level?
So, since I've been doing this for a few years, even though I recently started to take it serious starting January. So in the beginning, it was a lot of mistakes, especially, you know, being by yourself. I had some partners that we had differences and things didn't work out and stuff like that. But like the main mistakes would be, at first I would order too little amount, right? And and it wasn't like super limited, like 5 pieces, you know, but like I would order like a low amount and I would sell out all the time, which in perspective is a great thing. But if I'm selling out, let's say like, especially like when I first ever dropped hoodies and I sold out in like a weekend, in perspective it's like, oh man, you sold out, which is great. But then 2 weeks later, when somebody random, somebody I don't know is like, yo, I like your hoodies, bro, can I buy some? And I don't have any. Now it's like, dang, it would have been so amazing for this new person to get to experience my hoodies now, but I've created such a limited amount that now they can't buy it.
Right.
So now I buy like and I buy like a whole bunch of clothes, a whole bunch of inventory. And then in the perspective, that's bad, right? Because it's like, oh man, you got so much inventory. Mm-hmm. But since I'm growing, you know, I'm growing, I'm pushing it more, and I like rebranded everything. Like literally, like 2 weeks later, a month later, even like a few months later, somebody will message me and be like, hey, do you like these shirts right here? Like 2 weeks ago, and I dropped these shirts in the summer?
2 years ago.
Yeah, like a long time ago, right? And somebody recently messaged me and was like, yo, I like the yellow shirt. I want to buy it. But I dropped that shirt so long ago, right? But I guess at that point, at that time, that person had an interest in the shirt. And the old me would have made like super limited amount of these. And of course, they would have been gone, whether if I bought like 25, 30, or 40, and they would have been gone in a weekend. But now since I buy like at least 50, 100 plus shirts, now it's like, okay, somebody 3 months later wants to buy a shirt, they could buy it, and I want to make it convenient for people at least now, so I could like, you know, obviously like spread out and grow, but over time it's going to become more limited. But right now I'm just really focused on expansion. So one mistake I used to do is just like notice that, okay, my people wanted more than what I had, and I would just not grow it. I would just like still not buy more. I would just stay at 25 to 50 items, and it would sell out. Now that I buy more, people are able to like purchase whenever they want at their convenience, which is a great thing since people today are really focused on convenience.
Right.
So nobody wants to like, especially if I'm nobody really wants to put their time and effort to really wait at 8 o'clock to, you know, go on the website and blah blah blah. They want to be like, okay, I got paid today, I have an extra $30 hanging around. Let me go see if Miteau has something I like. And that's one thing I did. Another mistake I would do is just on the business side of things, right? I just didn't focus on them. And you guys know, like, how can I put this? Just financially, right? Like, especially trying to manage everything yourself. You know how finance is a big part of it, right? Finance and just not putting the monies in the right place. So when I would make money, of course I was young, like fresh out of high school, like 2 years ago, 2-3 years ago, right? If I would sell something, like I sold out on the hoodies, right? Made, you know, like $500 or something like that. And then boom, you know, I'm out here buying some Chinese food, or I'm buying some J's, and I'm not putting it really back into it, right? So that's what really, I was literally stagnant for a while, because I would make money and then I would just spend it, right?
Right.
I'll make it, I'll spend it, and then my clothes were becoming very subpar, to say the least. They were being really subpar because I wasn't focused on the bigger picture back then. So I would make the money and I'll spend it on buy some J's, whatever it is, and then I'll just work because I had a job and just buy some more stuff.
Right.
But now I take the money and I just put it on advertisement, or I put it to increase the quality of the shirts. That's how I'm able to make, you know, better hoodies or better t-shirts or pants, backpacks, and add more details into them. Because like all the money I take, you know, of course, yeah, if I'm hungry and I'm broke, I'm gonna take it. So I'm the CEO, so I could do that. But for the most part, I put it right back into the business, because, you know, if I want to grow, if you want to grow your business, you know, you gotta put it. Yeah, you gotta reinvest
Not only
it.
that, as Nick Fanning says, what? A business isn't a business if it what? isn't self-sustaining.
Yeah,
Right,
exactly.
That's true.
Very
So
Very true.
that's the goal, to basically let it sustain itself. So to the point where I don't really have to do everything. It's like doing this thing. Literally, I just focus on the design, drop it, money comes in, I just ship it, and that's the goal, right? I think that's everybody's goal in the business, for it to just be making money where you're not really trying as hard as you used to be, because you don't want to be. Of course, you guys enjoy going to these pop-up shops, but you don't want to the point where it's like, if you don't go to this pop-up, you're done, you're broke. You want to be like, okay, I'll show up to this pop-up, and then there's like, just like today, just like today, there was a line, for your pop-up. You'll show up to the pop-up, and you're like, okay, I'll show up today to this pop-up, and then there's a line, and it's like, oh my goodness, it's nothing, because it's self-sustaining. You guys made a name for yourself. So that's the goal. So that's why I'm investing, not wasting my money on shoes and things like that. I'm reinvesting it and trying to grow the business, trying to make it self-sustaining.
So to kind of point out for those viewers that, either you haven't started or you have started, just don't be afraid.
Or better t-shirts or pants, backpacks, and add more details into them, because like all the money I take, of course, yeah, if I'm hungry and I'm broke, I'm gonna take it. So I'm the CEO, so I could do that. But for the most part, I put it right back into the business, because if I want to grow, if you want to grow your business, you gotta reinvest it.
Not only that, as Nick Fanning says, what? A business isn't a business if it what? Isn't self-sustaining.
Yeah, exactly.
Very
true.
That's the goal, to basically let it sustain itself. So to the point where I don't really have to do everything. It's like doing this thing. Literally, I just focus on the design, drop it, money comes in, I just ship it, and that's the goal, right? I think that's everybody's goal in the business, for it to just be making money where you're not really trying as hard as you used to be, because you don't want to be. Of course, you guys enjoy going to these pop-up shops, but you don't want to the point where it's like, if you don't go to this pop-up, you're done, you're broke. You want to be like, okay, I'll show up to this pop-up, and then there's like, just like today, just like today, there was a line, for your pop-up. You'll show up to the pop-up, and you're like, okay, I'll show up today to this pop-up, and then there's a line, and it's like, oh my goodness, it's nothing, because it's self-sustaining. You guys made a name for yourself. So that's the goal. So that's why I'm investing, not wasting my money on shoes and things like that. I'm reinvesting it and trying to grow the business, trying to make it self-sustaining.
So to kind of point out for those viewers that, either you haven't started or you have started, just don't be afraid to make that mistake. Like I've made a mistake, Mitou's made a mistake, Sans has made a mistake, and it's just all about taking that first step, learning from that mistake, and growing on that mistake. If you're not learning from, what you fail or whatever, then it's just like you're not going anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the point that we're trying to make, and we're all very supportive. We all strive to be better, but just take that first step. Again, if you haven't started, do get started, and just don't be afraid to fall on your face.
Yeah, don't be afraid to fail. And I think another thing that definitely holds people back from getting started, it definitely stopped me from getting started, is being obsessed with perfection. Like, your page isn't going to be like Round 2's from day one.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Miteau stuff isn't going to be like Karen Preston's from day one. Yeah. You got to start somewhere, and you have to be okay with, putting something out that, it's what you can achieve at that point. It's the shirts you can thrift. It's the product you can put out, and be willing to just kind of grow from there. But
not to cut you off,
good.
I think what you just said was extremely important, because a lot of people they hold themselves back by just not taking the first step, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people come to me and say, "Hey, me too. I want to start my own clothing line. This and that. I've already got this much money saved. This and that. This and that. This and that." And I'm like, "Okay, just drop a shirt." And they're like, "Oh man, what if it doesn't work out?" I'm like, if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out.
Yeah,
then, all right. Oh, well, I haven't been successful at everything I did in life, at every Simply Steez thing. So the thing I tell them is like, take the first step. Drop that first shirt. If you're a thrifter, thrift, just get as much stuff out as possible. Of course, focus on the quality, but just take that first step, which is dropping that first shirt, dropping that first video, recording that first song, painting that picture, put it out to the world, and let the world judge it, and then just go from there. Don't hold yourself back because you're worried that it's not the most perfect thing. Something being perfect is it's biased. Like somebody can think something's perfect, and somebody else can be like, oh, it's not perfect. You know. So and you, since it's your art, since your creation, you're always gonna think it's perfect to a certain extent. So just just release it, drop it, do whatever you got to do. Just don't hold yourself back. Take that first step. I really appreciate that because that was definitely facts on.
Yeah, and another thing is whenever you're taking that first step, I think one thing that this can kind of help motivate people is if it's your first event, it's your first drop, whatever. As long as you're doing something people know that you're passionate about and you really want to do and make happen, and you promote it right, you market it right. I guarantee, usually your first drop, your first event is usually really good.
Yeah.
Because people are excited that this is it's your debut. The first pop-up we ever did, we had very mediocre, inventory and stuff, but we had a great turnout. Our little 10 by 10 tent had 15 people in it all night, constantly flowing. And at this point, some nights we don't even have that, But that's definitely something I think that can push people, is knowing that your first debut, first drop, first event, whatever it is, you're gonna have some of your closest people come out and support you, and a lot of people are gonna come out and support you because it's the first thing you do, and they're excited to see what you have to bring to the table. So definitely make it happen. Another thing I want to get into next, I'll kind of let Miteau take over, but I think a big regret for me is when we first started this, we were in college. Nick had just finished, but I had about a year and a half left. And I was kind of doing it a little bit, selling on Instagram and stuff, but I was very hesitant about telling people that I had started this brand, World Thrift, and promoting it. And it just, because to me, I was so obsessed with it being perfection, it being at the round 2 level, this and that I just was afraid to tell people that I had started something. And that was a completely wrong move. I was in college at the time. I'm surrounded by, what does USF have? 5,000 at that campus we went to. It's got 5,000 kids on it. So it's not that many, but it's a pretty closely connected campus. So the networking I could have done, the amount of followers I could have started the page off with, I could have graduated with 1,000 followers instead of 100. But not only that, but Miteau, with him still being in college, he utilizes all the resources that you can.
Right.
The labs on campus. He came over one day and we did a photo shoot with the brand. He's got this dope camera, tripod, all sorts of stuff. I'm like, dude, I didn't know you had all that. He's like, I didn't. I rented it from USF. It's free. That's the best part about being in college. You're already paying them enough money. Use the fuck out of the shit that they give you and fucking run it, dude. Take that camera, take that laptop, take those wireless Beats headphones, whatever they're willing to rent you, take it and utilize it. That's what you pay all those fees for. Tuition, this, books, that. Fees. Use it, please. But yeah, I'll just let Miteau take over it, and he's really good with this kind of stuff. He's always telling me different ways he's finessing the university, using what they have. And it's important, dude. He's connecting with people on campus. He's using cameras. He's using laptops. Anything that might get in his way, instead of going and spending money that he might not have, he's finding a good way to go about it. So again, guys, don't let finances, don't let taking that first step, just whatever you do, just make sure you dive in and just make it happen sooner or later, because I promise a year into whatever you're doing, you're gonna regret not starting earlier. So I'll kind of just leave it to Miteau from here. But yeah, dude, tell us about just some of the, because it's pretty universal amongst universities. So just some of the things you've used at USF, like the cameras, and just how they've helped you, the editing programs and whatnot.
So you definitely said everything perfect. You gave some great advice. But yeah, being at a university, there's a lot of, being out of college, it's so much exposure, there's so much things you could get into. I feel like going to college isn't necessarily just for the education, but more for the experience and the networking.
Right.
And coming in freshman year, I already knew that. I knew that I had to know people. I had to meet people, especially if I'm coming in freshman year. I have to make friends with everybody. I have to make friends with like everybody, and this is leading to the camera situation. So I had to like make friends with everybody. I had to be around. I had to be seen because when it comes time to be my senior year, I won't have time because I'm gonna have a job. I'm gonna have a house. I'm gonna have my senior year curriculums that I have to do. So freshman year I came in strong. I was meeting everybody, like making sure everybody knew who I was, and then through the people I met, somebody eventually told me, like, because I used to borrow my friends' cameras, and somebody eventually told me, hey, you could rent a camera at USF. I'm like, what? Like, for free? They're like, yeah, you could rent it for like 3 days. And they also have tripods, they also have mics, they also have a green screen room. I said, a green screen room? Really? He was like, yeah, just go to USF and you could just rent it. All you have to do is show your ID. So I went there the next day, ASAP, found out that there's 2 different types of cameras. There's video cameras, there's clip-on mics, the mics that you put on your cameras, the shotgun mics. They have like 2 green screen rooms, I think. Like 2 green screen rooms. But just to say that if you have to network, you have to get to know people just so they can tell you something you don't know. Because if I just didn't network, if I didn't talk to anybody, I would have never known that. Of course, I could obviously do my research, right, and find out, oh, you could rent cameras. But who really does that?
Right.
It's rare for somebody to just sit down and really do the research. But word of mouth is probably like the best form of marketing. Really.
Right. That's what
like
say.
Somebody goes and say, hey, man, like, yo, World Thrift is like the best place ever. They're gonna probably take their word for it because they're like, oh, it's somebody actually telling me this. There's no reason they should be lying to me, right? Mm-hmm. So they're gonna go to World Thrift and buy all your stuff. So that's how it was. Somebody told me, hey, you could go rent out cameras for free, and I'm like, really? They just let me have this camera for 3 days, nothing. That's it. They're like, yeah, and you could rent out as much stuff as you want. So you could rent out one of everything, like 1 camera, 1 mic, 1 tripod, maybe 1 video camera. I don't know if it's in the exact camera category, whatever it is.
Thousands of dollars worth of equipment.
Thousands of dollars worth of equipment for 72 hours, and it's all yours, and you just have to return it in time. And you just gotta take advantage of everything, especially if you're on campus. Everything, all the resources. I've had fashion shows. Like, I've met people that's directors of clubs. So I've talked to them and I'm like, hey, I have this brand. I really want to do a fashion show. So if I never met those people, they wouldn't let me just do a whole fashion show without me having to give them something in return, right? Because people, it's always like a give and take kind of thing. But since I knew him, he was my friend, or him or her, whatever it was, since they were my friends, they said, yeah, man, definitely I could just put you in the middle of like whatever event's going on, and you could have a fashion show in the ballroom. Which was great exposure, and they let me have creative control, and that's just taking advantage of everything at your university. And even if you're not at a university, maybe taking every advantage at your high school campus, middle school campus, or maybe your job or things like that. Of course, there's ups and downs to talking to people, getting to know people, and things like that. But if you come out there with the right mindset and you're focusing on your goal, you're like, okay, I want to get my brand to this level. I want to meet people so they can help me get my brand to this level. Then, I'm religious, so I believe in God. So, like, with God's blessings, you'll overcome all the negativity and you'll surpass it. So, as long as you come out there with the right mindset, you're gonna find out about things. Like, I'm gonna find out about, oh, you could rent out cameras for 3 days. Even though that thing wasn't even in my head, I didn't even think about renting cameras because it's like they're just gonna let me rent a camera for free. Like, that never came to my head. But now that it comes to my head, every time I need a camera, I just go rent one. Like, no problem. You saw me come to your house and do the photo shoot with the tripod and everything. This is all free. Right. All I really waste is gas, but that's the least of my worries if I'm renting like $1,000 worth of equipment. So that's just taking advantage of all your resources, because next thing you know, you'll be 35 and you'll wish you were back in college, right? You wish you were back in high school, but now you're 35. Or even if you're 35 now, I wouldn't consider 35 an old age, but let's say you're 70 or 80. When you're 70, 80, it's like there's not much you can really do
Small
at that
window.
point. It's a very small window, right? Unless you live to be 200 or something like that. But you're like 70, 80, 90. You're basically looking back because you're 70, 80, 90. There's not much you can really do at that point. There's some people who hit their primes maybe at 70, 80, 90. But if you're 70, 80, 90, your golden years are past you, and you're looking back like, oh man, I wish I would have rented these cameras and did more photo shoots. So there's small things like that. Maybe it's not something like drastic, but you don't want to have these small regrets like, oh, what if I would have, went to that networking event? What if I would have went to this pop-up shop? What if like these small things that could possibly change your life, and you didn't take advantage of. Like, you don't want to have those regrets. If it's something serious like, okay, maybe like taking a huge leap, I could understand where there could be like some setbacks, like, oh, why don't I move to a completely different city? Okay, those setbacks are like different, but sometimes you do have to take risks. But small things like, going to a networking event, you don't want to look back and be like, oh man, my friend Tom went to this networking event. He ended up meeting a whole bunch of people, and look at him now. I wish I had his life.
Yeah.
So you don't want to do that. So just take advantage of all your resources, whether you're in college, whether you're work, whether you're middle school, whatever it is, even your parents, your friends, like everybody's a resource. Everything's a resource around you. The internet, it's a resource. So just take advantage of everything.
Yeah. And I'm going to open it up. I'm going to go ahead and say, and I'm sure Miteau will offer this too, but free advice, if anyone ever, if you want to DM us, ask us a question about anything in regards, if you're starting your own thrift page, starting your own business, you need advice, DM us. Me and Nick, we'll do what we can. We'll try to answer some questions and give you some free advice and see how we can help you in terms of starting a thrift page or some kind of business. And I'm sure if you want to start your own clothing brand, you can definitely DM Miteau. I know he's busy, but he's a real good guy, and I'm sure he'd be happy to get back to you with any questions you have. Because again, we've definitely gone over some some different bumps and whatnot, hit some roadblocks, and anything we can do to help you guys avoid those and just kind of make your journey a little bit more smooth. I think we'd be happy to help you with that.
Awesome. So we just have a few more questions for me too.
Let's hit this real quick. I think there's only like one person watching. Whatever. If anyone has any viewer questions, drop them down now. Otherwise, we're gonna wrap it up here shortly. We've got a couple more questions. So Nick Fanning, let's get it.
So as far as like that inspiration for your pieces, is there any one designer that you really look up to as like, yes, this is the person that I strive to be, he's my mentor, or she is my mentor? Who is that one person that you look up to and kind of gives you inspiration for that next drop, that next piece?
Yeah, this might be an extremely cliche answer, right? But Kanye West is, of course, a big inspiration
He's
to
the
me.
man.
Kid Cudi, Kanye, Pharrell. But I really look at Ralph. Like, even though my clothes do not resemble Ralph at all, but Ralph to me is the GOAT. Because where I'm from Orlando, I'm from Robbinswood, which is, like 99% black. But there was a point where Ralph was like Ralph boots, Ralph polos.
Right, no, I remember that. Dude, we had that
like,
a little bit down here.
Man, like,
yeah.
It was like...
I remember when the Ralph boots hit, dude. That shit was something
It was
else.
crazy, especially in the area I was in, man. Like, and the people that would be wearing them with some baggy jeans, but like, bro, they had to like put the jeans in the boots.
Right.
Even though the jeans were not slim at all,
right.
they put the baggy jeans in the boots, and then not a great thing. But yeah, so everybody in my middle school, they had like Ralph and everything, and I was like so interested. I'm like, why is everybody just wearing these polos? And when I went to like the actual Macy's website, and I noticed like polos were like not like 10, 15 bucks. Those things are like 50
bucks a piece. Yeah.
And like the big horse are like 100 plus.
Right.
I'm like, whoa, there's no way these kids can afford or pay $100+ for a polo, especially if they have enough polos to wear every day this week.
Right.
So there used to be a Chinese store like right by my middle school, and they would just make fake stuff for the trend. They would have the fake polo boots, fake J's, fake polos, even when like Gucci was really popular, they would have the fake Gucci bags, but that really caught my interest, and then I like researched polo. Even though I don't wear much Ralph or anything like that, I've never really owned a lot of Ralph. But like I researched them, I like researched his story, and like that man is worth $7 billion and things like that. He's like up there with.
He's got one of the best car collections in the world.
Yeah, his car selection. He has like a freaking whole bunch of land, acres,
ranch in Colorado.
There's a Colorado, yeah.
Crazy,
okay, yeah.
And it's just. But when I see him, I just see a regular dude.
Right.
That's the thing. When I see another designer, of course, like I admire Jeremy Scott. You know, it's like remember when the Jeremy Scott shoes used to be really popular?
Yeah,
the bones, the Adidas, bro. I always wanted those, but I admire Jeremy Scott. Of course, I admire Ricardo Tisci. I admire Olivier for Balmain. I admire all these people. But when I see Ralph, he just looks like a regular dude that I could see at Walmart. You know, he wears like regular Wrangler jeans.
He's an older designer.
He's old.
A lot of like the people like Jeremy Scott that are like these more, their image really, you know, makes them this like showcase type person. That's a very, it's like a newer age type thing. But at the same time, there were older designers. Like one of my favorite designers is, oh god, I'm gonna lose his name. He's with Margiela right now.
This is Margiela. Older designer?
Yeah, he's older. I'll see if let me see if I can look him up or something. But we'll get back to it. But he's awesome. He used to be real crazy with his outfits, very like kind of like David Bowie, and just very outlandish.
Very
and one thing I always thought was dope was the finale to every single one of his shows was him.
Yeah.
Walking down the runway in the last piece, and it was like
really,
bro. I'll tell you. I'll show you. We'll watch it after this. It's let me figure out his name because you guys should watch this too. But it's like the best his best shows ever, and it's just the ending to each one, and you just see him walking out in all these different outfits.
Really,
he's such a character.
He's wearing
his own stuff, yeah.
That's dope. That just inspired something. But yeah, just to finish the question, Ralph, he was definitely my main inspiration. Just because when I see him, he's just a regular dude. It's like, oh man, this dude is worth $7 billion, but he's just a regular dude, has his ranch, has a whole bunch of cars, and that's what I aspire to be, because, all the glitz and glamours, those things don't really interest me. I'm really interested in just making a great living for myself, to give back to my family and the people I love, and I just really want, if I could stay low-key as possible, that would be great, even though it's so hard today with social media. But like, I want to make an impact, get back to Haiti, where I'm from, because I'm Haitian. I was born in Haiti. Get back to my family, my parents, because they've done so much for me. Get back to the people I love and things like that, and just stay out of like the glitz and glamour and all the bullshit, because all of that is all fake. All the bullshit is fake. People are making fake beats online. People are just trying to get attention for no reason, and none of that stuff matters. The thing that matters is the money. And if I could just be true to myself and make a great living and be able to give back to my country, give back to the people I love, my family and stuff like that, that would be great, and I'll be happy. I don't have to have 300 million followers on Instagram. I don't have to be on a whole bunch of news-sized TV shows, all those things. Like, I don't care about that. I just care about making a great impact, making enough money so I could give back to the people I love, and just staying true to myself. And that's why I really admire Ralph, even though I can't really say, oh man, this man stayed really true to himself. But when I see him from the outside looking in, it's like just a regular dude.
Yeah.
Right? He makes regular clothes too.
Right.
Like polos. He has this double-breasted suit, bro, that I really want to buy. But like, he makes regular clothes. He's not really too
traditional
outlandish.
formal menswear.
Yeah,
and not even
like
formal
that.
so much. Very casual as well.
Casual shorts.
But that's why he's got all the different lines. The purple labels, your top tier.
The
Macy's
WRL,
Lauren by Ralph. That's like his suits. So there's all the different lines and stuff. But yeah, dude, he's great. And one thing I think is interesting that I feel like I've heard this somewhere, but I've heard about the designers like Ralph. Armani is very much the same way. Virgil, he kind of is the same way, but he's been experimenting with his style a little bit lately. I don't know if you've noticed.
I've noticed.
He's been like adding these little touch things in there. But he used to always be very simple, like baggy kind of dress pants and then a tucked in tucked in graphic
he got that Louis Vuitton check.
Right,
so he's
right.
like,
now he's got to wear all those bags and stuff.
Some color.
But one thing I think I heard, or whatever I think it, is that some of these great designers, the reason they keep their own style so minimal is that they're thinking of so much already. They're trying to create, all these different seasons every single year. 40 plus pieces in each collection. So like the last thing they want to worry about is what they have to wear every day. So I think they just adapt to this uniform. And if you look into it, it's not crap.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Armani, every single day, he wears a black t-shirt. But that black t-shirt is a cashmere black t-shirt.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Ralph, he probably wears like those denim button-ups a lot. But it's probably top-tier denim. From it's probably a $300 denim button-up from his own collection. So they build up these uniforms and that's like kind of what I could see you doing.
Yeah. And I see that now. Like now that I'm really trying to hone in on my craft and like really focus, I don't worry about other clothes as much. I've sold like all my shoes, because I needed the money so I could invest in my business, and then some tough times came along. But I don't really focus. Like I used to be the dude that's like, I used to have a whole bunch of shoes, whole bunch of clothes, whole bunch of everything, right? Whole bunch of hats and things like that. But now that I'm making my own clothes, now that I'm really focused on making my own clothes, I don't really go to the store to buy stuff. If I'm buying something that's pretty basic, or I'm coming here to just,
he always comes through to
get like a t-shirt or
something
get
very unique,
for
one-of-one,
Yeah, like that. You never
Yeah, and he does come to us for some work
That's
stuff.
third eye
Keep that in
blind
mind, guys. You can get some formal wear from us too.
Oh,
Not just hype shit.
For work, I just come here and like get some Tommy Hilfiger stuff or some Nautica stuff for work, So people, when I show up to work, they're like, "Oh man, you wearing like this old Nautica?" I'm like, "Yeah, man, this is my boy Sons and Nick, hooking it up." But I really don't focus much on my style. I feel like, of course, I can still dress. If somebody ever wants to be like, "Oh, you can't dress," I can still dress. But I'm not really focused on that as much because, like, all my energy is focused on, like, making the clothes.
Yeah.
So it's like, I can't
dressing them.
Yeah, dressing other people, not really dressing myself. And since I make my own clothes, I just wear my own stuff.
Right.
So I'm not really worried about, oh man, let me just get those jeans. Of course, there's some stuff, like you see here and there. You're like, oh yeah, I got to get that. But for the most part, now that I'm getting older, it's, I'm like keeping it basic. And I guess I'm getting into that designer mentality right now, or that business mindset, whatever it is. It's just like, for the most part, I'm wearing like a hoodie or like a t-shirt, some nice jeans, like some Birkenstocks, with like some regular stuff. But because I'm just really focused on just the designing
it's the
thing.
grind
It's the
mode
grind,
right now.
that's it.
Grind now, glory later.
Exactly.
That's how it is.
Yeah, definitely.
Just so everyone knows, I did figure out the name of that designer, and we'll watch that video. But it's John Galliano. He's an older designer for sure. Real big in the 80s, 90s. Is still very prevalent, but his style's always been very outlandish, very flamboyant, crazy. Literally one of my favorite designers. He's an absolute maniac. Look him up on YouTube. Check him out. Him and Jeremy Scott are examples of designers that are a little more outlandish with their style. And then, like we were talking, Ralph and Armani are people that kind of stick to more of like a traditional uniform. Probably because, like we said, they've got such a busy schedule, and they're focused on dressing you guys, not themselves.
And even like there's like today, I see there's people keeping it traditional, but also adding like that flair. Like Rick Owens. Rick Owens I see his wife more than I see him for some reason. I don't know why. I guess she's more like in the face of the media, but like his clothes are like really basic for the most part.
Oh, absolutely. Very minimal.
Minimal
with like a very crazy edge. There's never any real like some prints, I guess, here and there. It's more like patchwork and stuff. But yeah, it's usually always just like a solid color, white, black usually, and it's usually the silhouette that's very edgy and crazy. He's usually got, it's this shirt that has a crazy, like, huge jagged edge. It's usually just the way it fits them. It's very futuristic, very, like, otherworldly, very cool.
And his clothes are super minimal, but when you see him, it's like, at least when you see his wife, because him and his wife are like, his wife is like way older than him, but like they're like vampires. When you see them, you're like, whoa, what the heck? They're very
gothic.
Very gothic.
Yeah.
That's the exact word. They're very gothic. I see her. I'm like, man, she reminds me of a vampire or something like that. And
that's what I think of his whole thing. Is
His whole
it's very
thing.
like futuristic goth.
Futuristic goth, so it's like super minimal.
Right.
You know, and they keep it minimal like the old designers and stuff like that, in terms of like just being a regular, but then they have the Jeremy Scott aspect of adding like gothic or something extreme where you're like, whoa, man, it's like minimal but like super extreme, all combined
Jeremy
together.
Scott's, yeah, he's got that very like pop.
Poppy.
He's very pop touch.
He's running Moschino.
Yeah, Moschino,
yeah. Is he the creator or he's running it?
It's creative director. He's creative director, head of house, whatever. It's all the same, more or less the same thing.
Yeah.
You're the designer, whatever you are. I just usually say they're head of house at that time.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, that's.
And that rotates a lot, but I think he's been in that position for a while.
For a minute, yeah, he has been.
There's a good documentary on that if you guys want to watch it. It's on Netflix. It's called The People's Designer by Jeremy Scott. If you're ever on Netflix, just type in fashion or fashion documentaries, something like that, and there's a bunch of stuff that will pop up. It's very good and very educational. Definitely don't sleep on that. Nick Fanning, where are we on the questions? How are we doing?
So that's all the questions that I had. Any final statements, remarks that you want to make?
Shout outs, whatever.
I just want to thank you guys for having me because, you know, you guys are like my bros for sure.
Of course.
You know, I've seen you guys grind from the ground up. So shout out to you guys for having me and like showing me to your fans, your platform and all those things, inviting me to your home. Shout out to everyone watching. There's somebody named Selena. I don't know if she's still watching, but shout out to you, Selena, for pulling up.
Tuning in.
I had texted her. I'm like, yo, pull up on World Thrift when you gotta watch it. So if you're still watching, you know, shout out to you, love you, and that's all I want to say. You know, shout out to the supporters, shout out to your fans, shout out to you guys, and thank you for having me.
For sure.
Absolutely, we'd love to have you back.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, what we've been telling people is that we'll kind of do like, nice, Game of Clue. Okay, perfect. This will be a viewer question, guys. We're going to get Game of Clue in from LA. It's going to be just a little bit longer. Why not? Waiting for Game of Clue. Here he comes. I think I can hear him. Connecting.
The Rams.
We out here. We in the building. We in the building. Fresh to the death, probably. Get it when I got it.
We were just talking about Polo on the segment.
I can't hear you, Sans. I got the boys though.
Hey.
Are you guys at dinner? What do you?
I had to call in.
Yes.
I had to bring some people to the table. Hagen Lee, welcome. B Hunt, welcome. Let's get some views up in this baby.
Welcome. You gotta ask
Let's get it going. Joy here, say hello. Sansi, huh? Man. What up, people? How you guys doing? How's the weather out there right now? Damn. Man.
I try to buy it off of you.
Right here right now, man.
Gucci sweater now.
Man, that World Thrift though, that's hitting off like crazy this whole week, man. Those
Mr. Michael.
200 plus people like in like the past like 2.5 weeks. That's crazy.
What?
It's like, man, that's the likes, man. That's crazy. We're gonna keep going up. It's gonna keep getting higher. Watch, no matter what. Let's see that next K coming up. Yeah, bro. Hell yeah, man. That's just gonna happen no matter what. No matter what. I'm gonna send some merch with Clue when he goes to Florida for a couple of you guys too. Send me your guys' size. I'm gonna send some personal stuff and then just some other stuff. I got some Angels gear, the classic Angels gear from like when they were like the Anaheim Angels, not Los Angeles, but the classic with the wings and all that. That's some other good stuff. The Anaheim Ducks and all that stuff. Send all that stuff down to you guys.
Oh, yeah.
Man, I'm gonna pass you back down. Like, you guys have a good night, man. You guys have a blessed night.
Talk to you soon.
Yeah, I got that. All right, boys. Look.
Popping on the line.
Take care. World Thrift to my guy right here. Yes, sir. Take care. Much love. Peace, love in Los Angeles, San Pedro, St. Petersburg. How we feel today.
What's the latest?
I can't hear anything you're saying, Sanzi. I'm sorry.
What's the latest news from Los Angeles? You can fly out of LAX with
Noah, what do you want to do? Alessandro, I can't hear you, bud.
Okay.
I love you, though, bud.
Yes.
Peace out, guys.
I'll tell you, you can now fly out of LAX with weed. So if you guys are making a trip to LA, you can do that. But anyway, guys, this was the World Thrift Live segment. This was episode 5 with Miteau from Simply Steez Co. Go give them a follow. This episode will be live and available on YouTube within the next 1 to 2 days. Like, share, comment, subscribe, and tell Nick Fanning what. I don't know. Just tell Nick Fanning something. Leave something in the comments for Nick Fanning. Nick Fanning, yes.
We out.